BYU and Alabama all went up on CBS. Two-seed Bama seeking back-to-back Elite Eight appearances for the first time in school history. They wouldn't have much trouble thanks to a record-setting night from Mark Sears. Early first half. Oh, you got a Sears counter, so you know it's real. First of many for the consensus first team All-American. 2 minutes later, kick out to Sears, walks into another. Few possessions later, Sears size him up, knock it down. His third of the game. 8 to go in the first half. Now Grant Nelson passes back to Sears. Simple formula tonight. You want an assist? Get it to Sears. Under 6 to go in the first half. Sears beyond the arc. Bang. Bama up 9, went into the break up 11. Last 5 games, Sears just 3 made threes. First half against BYU, 5 of 7. Bama made 12 threes in the first half. BYU just 1 of 13 from long range. More long range, number 6 for Sears. Minute later, in transition, Aiden Holloway, the lead behind the back, no look. Sears. Bama up 17. Number 7 for Sears. We're starting to look for bits of history. 11, the tournament record for a single player. Under 9 to go, Sears still going. This time, foot on the logo. Got it! 8 threes for Sears. Are you not entertained? Man in the arena not finished. A 9th 3 for Sears. Most ever in a tourney game by an SEC player. Alabama with that 3 sets the tournament record for 3 points made in a game by a team with 22. Guess what? Not done. Under 7. Sears! Make it an even 10. Bama's 25th made 3 of the game. They go on to win this one 113-88 thanks to the 3 ball, thanks to Sears. 10 made threes, just 1 shy of tying that tourney record. Finished with 34. That a career high for Sears. In a massive moment, he has a massive night. Checked out with 4 minutes to play. Could have chased some of that history, but they got bigger fish to fry. That includes an Elite 8 matchup as Alabama. The Tide, it rolls on.
Well, Coach, congratulations. This was an historic night on so many fronts for this program. You're seeing the hard work and the consistency and the success of your program pay off. I know you're not satisfied yet, though, but what do you take away from this one?
I mean, listen, Mark, everybody's saying he's struggling. He's 5 of 35 in 6 games. I told him he's playing chess. He just set everybody up. They're going to go under every screen. How many threes did he end up with tonight?
8 made threes. How did he have time for the 7 assists when he was making all those threes? Oh, 10. 10 was the total, actually.
He had 10 assists?
Yeah, no, 10 made threes and 7 assists.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, well, he had some other guys making some threes. We made 15, so he can still shoot, I assure everybody, and he set everybody up for that display. But the way we shot it tonight, I mean, you know, obviously we're not going to shoot like that all the time. We got lock in on defense. We had too many defensive screw-ups. We got to be better against Duke. But we try to get a lot of threes off. When you get 51 off, you know, liable to make a few. So great job by our guys. They came ready to go, so super proud of them.
So you did save some makes for Saturday?
I sure hope so. We're going to need them because whether it's Duke or whether it's Arizona, like, they're both really good. So we're going to need a few threes on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Let's get Mark over here. You had to be out of body at some point when you were making all those threes. Like, how did it feel internally? Because watching, we were just mind blown.
Oh, yeah, you know, over the last few games, you know, I've been struggling from 3, and I knew this was the perfect example to go out there and let a couple go in, especially how they were playing us in the first half.
We know Coach never stopped coaching you guys, no matter how big the lead was. What was he on you about, and why is that part of him? What's going to make you special in this tournament run?
Oh, yeah, you know, they were such an explosive offense, and he was preaching that they could score 20 points in a matter of 3 minutes, and we just didn't want to let that happen. So we was able to get some stops.
Enjoy it. We'll see you on Saturday. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Behold the flow state. A player completely unconscious and performing at the highest level. That was Mark Sears on this night. You heard Nate Oates say it. They had 15 threes that didn't come off his hand, so all of Bama letting it fly. 25 in total and a new turning record.
That was a fun game. If you like offense, that was fun for the fans, I'm sure, at least for the Alabama fans. You know, and listen, I got to teach these guys some math occasionally. I told Sears there's a thing called regression to the mean. You know, his last 6 games, he was shooting 14%, 5 of 35. He's not a 14% shooter, obviously. They had been going under ball screens on just about every game we watched. I told both those guys, Holloway and seriously, man, I hope they go under us, because we're going to rain them. So we were in the gym last night, the night before, but these guys show up for voluntary shooting every time it's available to make sure that they're ready to go and that work pays off. We want to base our program on hard work. So told Mark he's playing chess, not checkers. He just kind of set everybody up with that 5 of 35, thinking he was in a slump and he's going to come out, shoot like 63%, ain't bad. So 10 threes, I think first guy in NCAA tournament history, I was told, that had at least 8 threes and 7 assists. So, not only was he scoring it, he was moving it. Helps to get assists when you got guys like CY and Aiden Holloway making shots like they did too. So between these 3 guys, we had 21 threes. It's, we've hit 22 before a couple times, I think maybe 23. We've never hit 25. So, and BYU, with their personnel, we knew that they started going under, but they always collapse. I mean, they kind of have to, and they kind of got away with it against some teams that don't space like we do. But I told these guys going in, if you'll move the ball, we end up with 27 assists. I'm not sure where that ranks in tournament history, but if you'll move the ball, our offense is designed to beat a defense like this. So they're heavy in the gaps, they overhelp, and we did. So now they're a really good offensive team too. Everybody questioned whether we had defense to win. For some reason, nobody was talking about our offense though. Like, I've gotten to know Mike D'Antoni a little bit. He made the point, like, your offense only has to be, one point in the efficiency better than your defense to win the game. Now, we're trying to get stops, and I thought we did a pretty good job. They went on a run. I remember Sears got a steal. When they started to make a run there in the second half, it's a big play. We got a bunch of old boards. Our second chance points, I thought we hit some threes off that. We gave them too many second chance, but we did hit some threes off it. So, it was good. We were able to rest some guy. Our top minute guy was Sears with just over 30, and then, nobody else. Kurt CY and Grant 27 and 25. So, whoever we play, we were able to get these guys a little bit more rest than normal. So, proud of our guys. We're in the Elite 8 for the 3rd time in school history and back-to-back. So, Sears has been in the middle of it. These 2 guys came to play with them, and they're unbelievable backcourt together. I thought LeBaron did a good job, moving the ball tonight too. He went 2 or 3 himself. He ended up with 6 assists. So, I thought everybody played well in their roles tonight.
Start with questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand, we'll get a microphone, give name and affiliation before asking your question. We'll start here in the front row. On this side.
Jackson Shanks, Seton Hall Center for Sport Media. Aiden, we talked yesterday about how you've matured through the tournament. Last year with Auburn, a first-round exit. This year, you hadn't really had the game that put you on the map. And today, whenever Mark went out in that second half, it almost like it lit a fire under you, and you were able to answer each BYU 3 with your own. What about tonight made you so successful and allowed you to perform at that level?
My teammates just found me, honestly. That's all I'll say about that. It was just a good game. My teammates found me. And I just tried to not focus on shot making and focus on everything else, and shot making ended up, working out a little bit. So just shout out to my teammates for finding me all game.
We're going to come to this side in row 2.
Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. This is for Mark. Did you feel, is it possible to feel a game like this coming for you? And what is the feeling like when they're just going down like that?
Honest, like Coach said, we've been working all week to prepare for to get our shot right, and it just the matter of preparation we put in, it led to the success we had tonight.
We're going to come to the front row in the middle.
Mark, or for any of the guys, but we'll start with Mark since you had the biggest night. When Coach says, "Hey, regression to the mean," hey, they're playing you, how much do you believe it? How much do you expect it, I guess, is the better word?
Yeah, even though when I was shooting 14%, my confidence was still high. You know, I never stopped doubting myself and stopped believing in myself. And my teammates also, they kept encouraging me to keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And you know, that's just show trust in them that even though when I'm not at my highest peak, they still trust me and want me to shoot the ball. So, you know, it's a big shout out to them. And, you know, just, yeah, you know, just they went under the ball screen and I was able to get my rhythm early.
Chris, you also want to answer that question?
To be honest with you, before y'all talking about 14%, I had no idea he was shooting 14% because I never really paid attention to it. You know, Mark's an incredible player, so all I know is when he gets the ball, the defense is collapsing on him, so it don't even feel like he's shooting 14%. But regardless if he is or not, his gravity that he has on defense is, you know, something I never played with before. So yeah, you don't really realize he's shooting 14%.
Next two questions are right in front of me, row 3.
Thanks. Guys, congratulations. Drew Wolin with NBA Draft.net. So I checked, this question's for anybody. I checked the stat sheet at halftime. 80% of field goal attempts were from 3. You guys slowed down a little bit in the second half. You finished the game, 77% of your field goal attempts were from 3. I went through your schedule, usually about a little less than half. Sometimes you go over half, like a couple more shots. What went into that tonight? Where 77% of your field goal attempts were coming from 3?
Why don't we start with Aiden and then we'll go to Chris.
I would say just for these two guys next to me, an open 3 is kind of a layup. So we're happy with 77% of our shots coming from 3 today. So.
Like Coach said to start off, you know, the way they play defense, they're in the gaps heavy, and then if we have proper spacing, and if we don't take one dribble too much, or we're playing selfish, ready to move the ball, you know, we're capable of having 80%, 77% percent of our shots being 3s. So that's pretty simple.
Stay in that same row.
Matt Norlander, CBS Sports. Mark, this is for you, right here in front of you. I want to dig a little bit deeper. You made 10 3-pointers tonight. That's one shy of the NCAA tournament record. Could you just take us into what it feels like to play that well against a team that good on a stage this big? Are you physically conscious of what is happening as it continues to progress? Because it looked like you were in a zone and knew they were there for the killing.
Yeah, like you said, you know, I was just in the zone, you know. Once I seen the first 3 fall in, I felt like the basket was like as big as an ocean. And every time I shot, I felt like it was going in. So, yeah, you know, I just lost myself in the game and, you know, just let everything else happen.
All right, we'll go one row back in row 4.
Hi, Garrett Lash with Mid-Major Madness. This one's for Chris. Chris, obviously, you got a great coach up here with you. You played 4 years before that under Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim, obviously. I know this might be an emotional question, but, you know, what did he do to prepare you for this season, for this moment? Do you think about him when you're out there playing?
Probably the most important thing that I think about probably every practice, every game is, you know, playing selfless. You know, not really, because, you know, but previous 4 years, you know, I was the main guy. So, you know, I got talented players like Biz and Mark beside me. So really just being an ultimate team player, you know, just not really worried about myself playing within the flow of the game and just, you know, losing yourself within the game, within the team. You know, I might end up with 19 points, might end up with 5 points, but, you know, as long as you get a win, you know, I'm considered a winner.
We'll take one more question for the student athletes.
Everybody pouring it in for the Alabama Crimson Tide in this game, led by Sears. 25 made 3s as a team. Nate Oates imploring his team to let that thing fly. They did just that in this game, and they play on to the Elite 8. All right, let's dive in. Adam Finkelstein, Joe Musso. We got Tim Doyle, Hunter Dickinson also weighing in. Fellas, this was about as modern as you can get in a game in terms of attempts, in terms of makes. This was a 3-point barrage. I'm going straight to you here first. When a team has it going the way that Alabama does on this night, you're on the opposite side of that. What does that do for the psyche?
Yeah, there's not much you can do. I mean, you know, when you attempt or when you make 3 less 3s than another team attempts, and that's their strength, it's going to be a long night for the other team. And it felt like BYU was just treading water all game. Bama started out hot, and it was really the Mark Sears show. I mean, you know, 10 made 3s in a game. I mean, you know, when he's hitting like that, Alabama's going to be a really tough team to beat.
Tim, this got the berth between these two teams got large in the end of this game, but it was tight. There were runs made throughout this game by BYU. That three-point shot was the run stopper. When you have that confidence in the three ball, what's that do for a team on a night like this?
I mean, this is one of those games, and you know, you and I have played in them, where you walk across at the end of the game, you extend your right hand, and you say, wow, that was an awesome game. Congratulations. I mean, that's how awesome BYU was. You know, when you were talking about the runs there in the second half, Joe, great job by our team there drawing up this graphic. It wasn't just Sears. Adam, it was Holloway. He made some tough ones. He had a couple step-back ones. It got to 7, and we're all sitting there maybe hoping, rooting for this game to be a little bit more competitive. All of us up here on the desk had BYU keeping this game close, maybe even winning this game. I know I'm guilty of it, but what a tremendous shooting performance. Mark Sears, Adam, points per game were down 3 points per game. Shooting was down 11% last year to this year from three-point range. A simply spectacular performance by the team and Sears.
Guys, here's the thing. When Alabama shoots the ball like this and Mark Sears plays like this, they are winning every single night. This is how Nate Oates envisions things offensively. One of the things we talked about in the pregame is that this is not, by the numbers, as good of a shooting Alabama team this year. Now, they're still taking the amount of threes. About half their shots are threes, but they're not converting them at the same rate that previous year's teams did. This game, obviously, that was totally different. 24 from 50 from behind the three-point line. I think the other point here, 3 different players made at least 5 threes. So if you're BYU, you can't say, okay, just run them off the line. What do you do when every guard on the floor has made 5 threes? You really have to pick your poison, which is why Hunter said to his credit, like, there's not much you can do. When everybody's on a heater on the same night, Tim, tip your hat. Nice game. Okay. See you next year. Back to the portal.
We did have a late one here for 25. Again, a tournament record. Sears setting some records of his own. The first player since 1985 with 30-plus points and 7-plus assists. As you said, TD, it wasn't a one-man show here. It was the entire group. I do want to pose that statement as a question to you guys. Is there another team remaining that can shoot it like this if you got to match Bama from long range?
Well, I don't think there's, many teams that can score 113 points in a college game, and I think it's just, goes to show you why Alabama is one of the best teams in the country and why they were so highly rated to start the year, and then in the tournament why, they're such a dangerous team is because, they can go off for 113 points in any given night, and so this will be a tough test, for whoever they have to play next to really try to guard that three-point line and really start with Mark Sears trying to limit how many threes he takes.
I'm also looking at 27 assists, TD. How'd you like how the ball moved leading to those threes?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to have assists when you're shooting the ball. I mean, they were plus 57 in the game from the three-point line. I mean, that's like impossible to wrap your head around. What I find interesting, and this is why I don't think Alabama is going to win the national championship, BYU was 6 for 30. You know what that percentage is? Not good. All right, it's 20%. If they were, let's just say 15 for 30, and they had a great shooting night, well, then they win this game going away.
Yeah.
They missed their shots. Alabama made their shots. And the way the game is played now, some people up on the desk don't love all the three-point shooting. I'm not going to name names, just going to point, okay? Do you think this tournament's going to come down to teams that make shots versus teams that don't make shots, or it's still a matter of the best team's going to win?
I think in this tournament you got a lot of different playing styles. Like you got a team like Houston who is going to try to beat you physically and try to beat you defensively. And then you have teams like Alabama and BYU who are going to try to beat you from the three-point range. And then I think you got teams like Auburn and Florida that can do both, where they can beat you in multiple different ways. I think that's why this tournament's so unique and why, I mean, obviously I have Florida winning it all, but, there can be a lot of different scenarios on who wins it all just depending on any given night.
Tim, I think that's it right there. It's the teams who can win in different ways. And Danny Hurley's talked about this the last 2 years. When you have to win 6 games in a row, you have to be able to win different ways over the course of those things. Alabama is one of the teams that can do it. Florida, ironically, I think we all picked Florida. That was the reason why I picked Florida. They can beat you with the front court. They can beat you with the back court. They can beat you with their pace. They can beat you different ways. Alabama, when the shots are going in, they're going to beat anybody. The question is, when they don't shoot it like this, how do they react against other top 10 teams in the country?
Did you see enough shift in pace to feel good about Bama? Obviously, you feel good coming off the shooting performance, but this wasn't end-to-end action for the full 40. They did have to downshift there coming out of the break. Did you like what you saw in those moments where they were tested?
They lead the country in tempo, so they're going to play fast no matter what. And I think it's imperative this year because, remember, this sounds counterintuitive right now. This is, by the numbers, not as good of an Alabama shooting team on the season as they have been in past years. And the pace helps to create more space when they're playing with 2 bigs instead of 1, which is how Nate Oates typically plays.
The most important number moving forward is 8. They are on to the Elite 8 after this Sweet 16 victory where they will play the winner of Arizona and Duke. A historic night shooting for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Gentlemen, thank you as we take a look at not just history. They didn't just clear that 21. They didn't just match that 20. 25 made threes. The most three-point field goals made in an NCAA tournament game. You just saw history, ladies and gentlemen. 75 points off threes alone.